Abide in me. You have heard those words. Maybe they are underlined in a Bible you have carried for 30 years. Maybe they hang framed on a wall in your home. But here is something most of us were never told. Abide is almost a dead word in English. We do not use it anywhere else. No one abides at the grocery store. No one abides in traffic. It has become a soft, religious, faraway word. And because the word feels distant, the command feels distant too. So we hear, abide in me, and we assume it means this: feel close to God, sense His presence, reach some warm, mystical state that always seems to belong to someone with more faith than we have. That is not what Jesus said. The Greek word behind abide is not soft, and it is not a mood. It is one of the most solid, stubborn, immovable words in the New Testament. And Jesus speaks it 11 times in 17 verses. Not to describe a feeling, but to press a command into people who were only hours away from the strongest temptation to leave they would ever face. By the time we are finished, the most familiar chapter you know may read like a chapter you have never read. Most of us here abide and feel a quiet guilt. We assume abiding is a spiritual achievement, a level, something the great saints reached and we keep missing. We think, if I felt more, if I prayed better, if I were not so tired, then I would be abiding. That reading is not empty. There is real closeness with God on offer in John 15. This is intimate ground, but it is incomplete because it turns abiding into a feeling you must produce. And the moment abiding becomes a feeling, every dry season becomes evidence against you. Jesus is offering something far steadier than that. The Greek word is menow. Menow means to remain, to stay, to not leave, to continue in a place and not move from it. It is the word for someone who lodges somewhere, who unpacks, who stays the night, who does not treat a place as a stop on the way to somewhere else. It is also the word for what lasts, what endures, what is still standing after everything else has passed away. So when Jesus says, abide in me, He is not asking you to generate a feeling. He is telling you to stay, to remain attached, to not drift, not wander off, not quietly walk away. Hear the difference. A feeling rises and falls, and no one can command a feeling. But you can stay. You can remain. Even on the days you feel nothing, you can refuse to leave. That is what menow means. Not a mood you achieve, a place you do not abandon. And now consider when He said it. Jesus speaks the words of John 15 on the last night before the cross. Within hours, the men listening will run. One will deny Him. Every one of them will scatter. He knows it even as He speaks. So this is not a gentle thought offered on a calm afternoon. This is a word pressed into men who are about to feel the strongest pull to leave they have ever known. Do not miss that. Abide is not a word for the comfortable. It is a word for the person standing at the edge of walking away, and He hands them an image to hold it. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Keep that second word, the vine dresser, because in a few minutes we will see what those hands do to the branch, and while it is happening, it feels like the opposite of love. We will come back to it. But first, that word true, the true vine. You do not call yourself the true vine unless there is a false one, unless there is a vine that failed. And every person listening to Jesus knew exactly which vine He meant. To feel the weight of it, you have to go back, past John 15, past the prophets, all the way to the beginning. The Bible opens with people placed in a garden, in the presence of God, walking with Him in the cool of the day. They were put there to remain, to stay. And the first great tragedy of Scripture is not only that they sinned, it is that they were driven out, removed from the place of dwelling. The story of humanity begins with people who could not abide, driven out of the garden with the gate closed behind them. Then God chose a people, and Scripture gave them an image, a vine. In Psalm 80, the writer says God brought a vine out of Egypt, cleared the ground, and planted it. It took root. It filled the land. And then it was broken down. In Isaiah 5, God sings a grieving song over his vineyard. He had done everything for it, cleared the stones, planted the choicest vines, built a watchtower, and waited for sweet fruit. It gave him wild grapes, sour fruit, nothing he could use. That was the vine of Israel, a vine planted by God that would not remain faithful to God, a vine that did not abide. And yet God would not abandon the desire to dwell with his people. He gave Moses an instruction, "Build me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them." The tabernacle, later the temple. God pitching his tent in the middle of the camp, refusing to be a distant God. Then the Gospel of John opens, and one line gathers all of it. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. The dwelling God in person at last. And watch what happens next. Two disciples begin to follow Jesus, and the first words out of their mouths are a question. They ask him, "Rabbi, where are you staying?" The Greek word they use is menow. Where do you abide? Where do you remain? Jesus answers, "Come and see." And John tells us they went, and they remained with him that day. The same word again. That is the longing of the whole Bible in one scene. People who have never been able to stay, finally finding the one they could stay with. So here is where we stand. The whole of Scripture has been telling one story, a God who wants to dwell with his people, and a people who keep failing to remain. The garden, lost. The vine, gone wild. And in time, the prophets watched the glory of God depart the temple itself. And then Jesus stands in an upper room and says, "Abide in me. Remain. Stay." But that raises the question that decides everything. How? How do people who have never once managed to remain, not in the garden, not as the vine, not in the temple, suddenly abide? If John 15 is only a command, it is a beautiful and impossible command. The disciples will prove it impossible within hours when they scatter into the dark. So the command cannot be the center of this chapter. Something else has to carry it. Look again at the words, "Abide in me, and I in you." It runs both directions. He does not only command us to remain in him, he promises to remain in us, and his remaining comes first. This is the heart of the whole chapter. You are not asked to abide in order to earn his presence. You are asked to abide because he has already made his home in you. And he secured that on the very night he spoke these words. Hours after saying, "Abide in me," Jesus walked into a garden of his own, Gethsemane. And in that garden, where the first humans had failed to remain, he faced the full pull to leave, to turn from the cup, from the cross, from the Father's will. And he prayed, "Not my will, but yours be done." He stayed. Where Adam left, Jesus remained. Where Israel ran wild, Jesus held fast. He abided in the Father's will all the way into the darkness, all the way to the cross, on the one occasion when remaining cost a man everything. And then he did what no command alone could ever do. He sent the Spirit. In the chapter just before, he had promised it in words that should stop you. The Spirit abides with you and will be in you. Menow again, the Spirit who does not visit, but moves in, permanently. So the branch is not clinging to the vine by the strength of its own grip. The life of the vine has come up into the branch. He abides in you. That is the only reason you can abide in him. If you have walked with God for decades, you have had seasons when you felt nothing. When prayer felt like speaking to the ceiling. When you wondered if you had drifted so far that abiding was no longer possible for someone like you. Hear this carefully. Abiding was never a feeling. The branch in the cold of winter does not feel attached to the vine. It looks bare. It looks dead. But the life is still moving, hidden beneath the bark. You can be abiding in a season when you feel nothing at all. Menow is not measured by your emotions. It is measured by whether you stay. And some of you carry a quieter ache than dryness. The house is not as full as it once was. The friends have grown few. There are days when no one calls, and the silence in the room has a weight of its own. Hear what the vine says to that. A branch is never alone. The life of the whole plant, every root, every other branch, the vine itself, runs through it. You may feel cut off from people. You are not cut off from the life. He abides in you, and that means you are joined to something far larger than the empty room. And now we come back to the hardest part of the chapter, the vine dresser, and what those hands do. Jesus said the Father prunes the branches that bear fruit, prunes them, cuts them back. If you are 45 or older, you know what it is to be cut back. The strength that used to come easily, the roles you used to carry, the people who used to fill the house, the health you once took for granted. Year by year, things have been cut away from you. And it can feel like abandonment. It can feel like God walking off and leaving you with less. But a vine dresser does not prune a branch he has given up on. He prunes the branch he still expects fruit from. Pruning is not rejection. It is attention. It is the gardener's hands, close to the branch, because he has not finished with it. The losses of these years are not proof that God has left the vine. They may be the clearest evidence that he is still working it. And if you are tired, if you have prayed the same prayer for a child, a marriage, a failing body, for so many years that you have begun to go silent, the word of John 15 to you is not try harder. It is do not leave. Stay attached. The fruit was never your assignment. Apart from me, you can do nothing, Jesus said. But the branch that simply remains will bear fruit in its time. That is the vine's promise, not the branch's burden. And there is one last word here for anyone who fears their most fruitful years are behind them. Jesus said he chose you and appointed you to bear fruit. And then he added two words: fruit that remains, fruit that abides. Menow. One final time, the fruit of a life that stayed with God does not die when that life ends. It remains. In a child who finally comes home, in a grandchild who remembers your prayers long after you are gone, in a faith handed down that outlives the one who carried it. You may feel late. You are not too late to bear fruit that remains. So speak this out loud where you are. I will remain. On the days I feel his presence and the days I feel nothing, I will not leave the vine. He abides in me, so I will abide in him. What he prunes, I will trust. And the fruit he brings from my life will remain long after I am gone. Here is what John 15 has been saying from the beginning. Abide was never a feeling you must manufacture. Menow is a decision you get to keep making, to remain, to stay attached, to not walk away from the one place where the life flows. The garden could not hold us. The vine of Israel ran wild. The glory departed the temple. But the true vine remained. He stayed in the Father's will all the way to the cross. And now his own life has come up into the branch. You do not abide to earn his presence. You abide because he is already at home in you. So stay. If this opened the chapter for you, comment one word: remain. Let it be your declaration that you are not walking away from the vine. Subscribe and join us.